Ethnicity in Manipur. Okay. We discussed Nagaland and issues of Nagaland spread to Manipur. The Naga conflict, Naga struggle for autonomy or separate nation created a problem in Manipur as well because they are closely linked. This Nagaland and Manipur. Nagaland problem spread to Manipur. Okay. So these are interconnected problems. Okay. But what is the demography of Manipur because of which that is vulnerable to Nagaland problems or the problem of Nagas? This is Manipur district map. Okay. It is like this. Nagaland. Manipur can be thought in terms of hills and valley. Hills consists of tribals and valley consists of non-tribals. In the valley you have Meities and hills you have Nagas plus Kukis. And valley is rich with resources. So the place where Meities settled has rivers and fertile region, because of which they developed advanced political systems, including kingdom. Meitei kingdom was created. There was nothing like Naga kingdom or Kuki kingdom, but there was Meitei kingdom because the surplus generated the kingdom. They cultivated rice. These are called paddy states. So they controlled other regions. Meitis are also called Manipuris. And Manipuri state had problem with Burman state. Burmese kings. Fights took place. And such fights were going on till the British came and controlled everybody. So Manipur became part of British Empire in 1 year. Okay. So this is about Manipuris, also called Meitis. Let us take more details. 50% of Manipur population are Meitis. sorry, 53%. But in this valley, others also live. All put together, 60% of the population live in valley. And Meities speak Tibeto-Burman language, like Nagas and Kukis. Burmese interference in Manipur ended with First Anglo-Burmese War, in which Burmese ceded complete control of Manipur to the British. In 1891, a rebellion in Manipur crushed and became a princely state as part of British Raj. So Manipur became a princely state in 1891. But Manipur becoming a state is essentially Meities coming under the control, because Meities already had some kind of control over this state, because this was kingdom. So this is about state of Manipur. But Meities are not confined to Manipur. They are there at other places also. In Manipur, 1.52 millions are there. In Manipur, 1.52 millions. In Assam, 0.16 millions. It means 1.6 lakhs. In Tripura, 20,000. Nagaland, 10,000. In Meghalaya, 4,000. In Arunachal Pradesh, 2,000. Mizoram. In India, there are 1.76 Meities. Meities are also there in Myanmar and Bangladesh. So, this is about Meities. So, which means predominantly they are concentrated in Manipur. That is why Meities are also called Manipuris. Okay. So, that's about the valley. Next, come to hills. In the hills, there are Nagas and Kukis. Okay. Who are Nagas and who are Kukis? Here, one important distinction needs to be made between what is called tribe and ethnic community. Tribe and ethnic community. Tribe is a in this context, you can take tribe as homogeneous and a language speaking community, a language. A language speaking, a speech community, a society. is tribe. But what is an ethnic community? Some tribes can create an ethnic community. For example, who are Nagas? There is nobody like Naga. There are tribes like Ao, Angami. These tribes became Nagas. Nagas is a new identity. New identity. A new identity is created on the basis of certain similarities. But earlier, they were fighting among themselves. So, Naga is an ethnic community, whereas Ao, Angami, Konyak is a tribe. Why is this distinction needed? Because there is emergence of ethnic communities out of tribes. Why should ethnic communities arise out of tribes? Because tribes are facing certain common problems from some common enemies. So tribes are coming together to form new communities. So that is how from Aos and Angamis and Konyaks and others, Nagas emerged. Otherwise, they didn't know one another. They were hostile. In fact, among the Naga tribes, within a tribe there is a hostility. There was rivalry between the two villages, and headhunting was a traditional practice. People from one village were trying to hunt the heads of the people of another village. So, before you see that all the Nagas want to be a separate nation, we should know what actually was the history. There was nothing that was a bond between two villages. So a society that did not have a bond between two villages wants to involve other societies and form a nation. So that is the historical context of what is currently called ethno-nationalism. Traditional rivalry and new projects of nationalism. Okay. So, like Nagas came to be what they are. Nagas consisted of certain tribes. Kukis also consisted of certain tribes. Naga and Kuki. Okay. Kukis are as artificial as Nagas. Okay. And what is of surprise, or what may be of surprise, is some tribes may want to be neutral. They don't want to be either Kukis or Nagas, but Nagas or Kukis may insist on a particular tribe not to be neutral, which means that identity can be somewhat fluid. All of them are speaking Tibeto-Burman languages. There are cultural similarities as well as differences. And Kukis also have headhunting as a tradition. So, a particular tribe may join Nagas or join Kukis. It is not that it is entirely arbitrary, but there can be an issue in which there are certain similarities and differences that they can they can judge themselves to be on Naga side or Kuki side. Okay. But as of now, there are clearly Nagas and Kukis. Okay. So, demography of Manipur is Nagas and Kukis and Meities. Okay. Some more on Kukis. Okay. Kukis are several hill tribes within India, Bangladesh and Myanmar. They are not confined to India. And they are present in all states except in Arunachal Pradesh. And there are some 50 tribes which are designated as scheduled tribes in India who think they are Kukis. They are known as Chin in Chin state of Myanmar, Mizo in Mizoram, Kuki in Myanmar. All coming from Tibeto-Burman languages. The British use the term Chin, Kuki, Mizo. We mean the British government. Whereas missionaries used the term Kuki to those on Indian side, Chin on Burmese side. The first missionary came to Manipur in 1894. So, Kukis were converted by the missionaries. There is one very important development in the history of Kukis. They had been independent people till Kuki rebellion of 1917 to 19 against the British. This was during the First World War. By this time, Manipur had already been lost to the British. It became a princely state. So which means Meities were under the control, but Kukis were not. And when the British wanted Kukis to be recruited in the war, they refused. That led to the rebellion and was crushed. At the end of which, Kukis were given penal labor for 5 years. And their leaders suffered a lot. And so Kukis were considered anti-British. And Kukis, during the World War II, joined Japanese side and fought with Indian National Army of Subhash Chandra Bose. So Kukis have glorious history. India can say they fought against the British, against the colonialism, and so patriotic. Okay. One interesting detail about the Kukis is that there is a small group which is below 9,000 who think that they belong to a lost tribe of Israel. A rabbi gave them the name of Bnei Menashe, and some of them even migrating to Israel. So that is one side detail. So this is about the Kuki people. So now coming to why there is a conflict between Nagas and Kukis. The conflict between Nagas and Kukis came because, when say, it is exported from Nagaland, exported or imported to Manipur. How? Naga people wanted greater territory for themselves, Nagalim. And one organization, NSCN IM, Moai, is based in Manipur. The tribe he comes from is in Manipur mostly, not in Nagaland. So NSCN IM wants to have a huge part of Manipur as a part of Naga nation. Okay. The search for nationhood started from the time of India's independence. They declared independence on August 14th, 1947, one day before India declared its independence. So, but what land did Nagas want? The land that Nagas wanted was not simply what is currently now under Nagaland, but also many parts of other states, which includes part of Manipur. They wanted to have something here in Manipur, what is called South Nagaland. South Nagaland. Okay. But in this so-called proposed South Nagaland, there are Kukis. So what should be done with them? And here, NSCN, Nagaland Socialist Council, National, NSCN, wanted what can be called ethnic cleansing. Ethnic cleansing. Ethnic cleansing. Ethnic cleansing, no doubt, is a strong word. But then, going by actions of NSCN, it is clear that is what it attempted. I am taking account given by Mangi Singh, published in Indian Journal of Political Science. What Mangi Singh says is, I found much more convincing. Usually, many people have written it as Naga and Kuki ethnic conflict, as if that they are two equal groups, equally just and equally unjust, equally powerful, and they are on fight because of certain ancient reasons. But if you see closely, this is not really an issue of only ethnicity. This is an issue of Naga trying to have more land, finding Kukis as an obstacle. Okay. Which means it is Nagas who are creating the problem. It is not Kukis. I felt many accounts do not have this judgment, which Mangi Singh article has. It is Nagas who are creating the problem. It is Nagas who are trying to defy Indian constitution and Indian army. And Kuki want the protection of Indian law. So how can these two be on same par? And it is Nagas who initiated the violence. Kukis were only trying to defend themselves. Kukis at one time were powerful before Kuki rebellion. But over a period of time, they became weak, vulnerable. And Nagas became more powerful, better armed, more consolidated. Okay, so Naga ethnic community is emerged as a political concept. There is more solidarity about Naga ethnic community. There is less so in the case of Kuki ethnic community. Nagas are better connected, Kukis are not so. Okay, so it is, in essence, it is aggression of the Nagas. Okay, it is not simply that Nagas and Kukis are fighting for their old traditional rivalry. It is not true. Nagas want to get more of the territory. And let me tell you that here Nagas mean not all the tribes, but particularly one tribe to which Mohan belongs to. It is one Naga tribe versus Kukis in certain areas. Violence started and refugees or victims of the violence spread to other districts, and the entire state became vulnerable to Naga Kuki violence. Okay, so it is Nagaland problem that spread to Manipur, and the problem is due to Naga plans of expansionism. Let us see. Okay. Nagas trying to cleanse. First, there was a Naga Kuki conflict even during the British period. So there is some purely ethnic element. And Naga secessionism spread to Manipur areas. As per Kuki's account, between 1956 to 87, 79 Kuki villages are uprooted by Nagas. And see the power of this resolution. In 1992 October, United Naga Council passed a resolution that Kukis who came before 1972 should give undertaking that the sole land ownership lies with Naga, that they should give with SDO. Okay, and that within a month by November. And failing so, they should vacate a month after, that is by December. And those who came after 1972 must vacate by December. The issue is, how can this Naga Council give such a order to the Kukis? That's not a government. What is the legality? Okay, there may not be any legality, but is there a historical support? Kukis had been there for many years. Of course, some Kukis historically came around 19th century, and there were some centuries before. But regardless of when they came, they were there at the time of independence, and they've been there for decades at least. So it was their village. So how can Nagas say that you leave? And they said in the resolution that Kukis are in general nomads and they don't stay at one place. So it is simply using their power to threaten the Kukis. And also the specificity of the instructions, vacate by this month. Those who came before 72, after 72, it's all power, nothing more. And then they claim Senapati, these 3 districts and part of the 4th district are included in the maps of proposed South Nagaland. Senapati, Tamanglang, Chandal and part of. Okay. Is it 1, 2, this, these areas? Okay. They want to be part of South Nagaland. And then there had been collection of what they call Nagaland tax. So Kukis in those areas should pay Nagaland tax, it seems. Okay. And in 1993, on September 13, NSCN killed 115 Kukis in Chorachandpur. Stories from Kuki refugees spread violence across the state. Okay. Tangkhul is one of the 16 major Naga tribes which was at the forefront of this. Mowai belongs to this tribe. And there was no help from the state. Paramilitary organizations, police, looked the other way. And according to Kukis, between 92 to 97, 350 Kuki villages were uprooted and more than 1,000 Kukis killed. And neutral sources like India Today say that the state was inactive, knowing fully well what was in store, which means they did not control Nagas. Basically, Kukis were weak. All these things are contributing to the demand of Kuki homeland, of course, within India. So, it is Naga secessionism. It is expansionism of Nagas, or demand for Nagalim, that is responsible for Naga Kuki conflict. in Manipur. It is a fight over land. Okay. See, there doesn't seem to be any justice in this, because going by the tradition, land belongs to village. In some districts, there are Kuki villages as well as Naga villages. See, there are 5 hill districts and 4 valley districts. In these 5 hill districts, there are Kuki villages as well as Naga villages. So if it is a Kuki village, of course, in a Kuki village, the land belongs to them. Been there for decades and centuries. So how can that village can be uprooted? So how can claim for greater Nagaland be a justification to uproot Kukis from those villages? So when Nagalim is created, and is this the kind of justice they want to follow? So these are the issues. Okay. So it is Naga expansionism that is responsible for Naga Kuki conflict. Okay. And one more thing in this ethnicity is about administrative reorganization. Manipur doesn't come under 6th schedule, nor it comes under 5th schedule. Manipur has one special article 371C. 371C is a response to giving autonomy, way of giving autonomy to the hill people, valley and hill. 5 districts and 4 districts inside. What 371C says is that in this, chief minister not involved, but MLAs from hill areas can constitute a committee, and based on this, President can make modifications to the administration of these hill areas, which means tribal MLAs can decide what kind of administrative legal arrangements are necessary to protect these hill areas. And hill areas will be defined by the president, which means president and tribal MLAs will decide how these hill areas have to be governed. And governor is given a special responsibility to ensure that the legal arrangements made are implemented, and also he reports to the president. So based on that, Manipur has 6 autonomous district councils, 6 ADCs, which means Manipur, though not coming under 6th, has 6 ADCs. But tribes say that these ADCs are not as powerful as autonomous district councils of 6th schedule, so they want 6th schedule. And Meities or valley people don't want Manipur to come under 6th schedule because if it comes, hill areas will be much more powerful. So Meities don't want to lose power, so they don't want 6th schedule, whereas tribal people want 6th schedule. Under 6th schedule, there are 10 autonomous district councils in Northeast. But this map, I mean, there is no 6th schedule autonomous district council in Manipur, but there is one ADC, that is Southern Hills. There are 6, and one this ADC Southern Hills. Kukis want it to be a proper district, a revenue district, which Nagas don't want. But this map shows where this Southern Hills is. Okay. Kukis want Southern Hills to be converted to revenue district. Otherwise, there are 6 ADCs, but not formed under the 6th schedule. Wording of 371. Okay. So these are the issues of ethnicity in the context of Manipur. Thank you.